All right. So with this update, what you're able to do is whenever you go into the properties area, in the past, whenever you come into the properties, each of the properties that you went into, you had to go into the actual the actual property itself in order to see the listing or the transaction, or if you had the projects area, you could see those elements, but you had to go into the property itself in order to see those. Um, you could go in and do some filtering and being able to pull up some of the listing information, but technically it was only showing one property per listing, transaction, or project. Well, now in the upper left-hand corner, whenever you look at the browse list of the properties, there is the icon that has the little house. This no longer is just a standard icon by itself. Whenever you click on it, it will now show you the drop down of what options you have, listings, transactions, and if you have projects installed, it'll show projects. Otherwise, it's just the listings and transactions. Whenever you go into those, then it will take whatever listings that you have and show those with the connected property. Some listings you have in there multiple times, therefore you'll see multiple addresses. In either case, as you click on them or whatever, you'll go to that particular listing or transaction record that's associated with. So huge ability here now. You can select these records and do things with them. Right now, if you've got several listings in there, you can set up filters, you can set up views so that whenever you come in here, you can view your listings similar to the way you used to be able to view your properties with certain columns and stuff, but now it has the columns of the listing itself, which is much more efficient and better for you. So you've got full access to any of those, whether it's properties, listings, transactions, or projects now. The one thing that you can do whenever if you've got several of them, then you need to make some additional changes to status or some dates or tags or whatever. You can now select the different records, go over to the menu on the right-hand side. There is an update option. So in this case, since I'm in the transactions, I can update the transactions. And it gives me a few of the fields that I can update. As we get into this, I want input from our users to say, yeah, I also need to be able to, change this, that, or the other thing. But for the most part, most fields are unique, so it doesn't really make sense to do mass updates on a lot of them. But certainly being able to add tags, update date fields or something like that in mass might be of benefit. So those are on there. The big one would be status. Everybody wants to be able to change their status. If you've got a bunch of records, say, one of the things that I was doing was I had a bunch of records that were marked as closed. Well, for the current year, I wanted to see closed, but at some point, I might want to archive those. So I created a new status called closed/archived. I could have just called it archived. It doesn't really matter, but I wanted to make sure that it was indicative of it was previously closed. Now it's archived. But by doing that, you can set up filters to prevent it from showing up in your closed list simply by having it closed/archive. The benefit there would be is if I go into my business pipeline and I see the different pipelines of items, I might have one here for closed that I want to see, but I've archived some of them and I don't want those archived ones to show up in this list. So it just allows me to kind of offload them to a different place. So you can set these up now to easily update those statuses and move them out in bulk for anything that you need. So you can just go in there. Maybe I wanted to go in there and say filter all of my actually, let's take everything, find everything that's closed. There they are. I could then say select all those and then do a update, change all of these to closed and archived, and then click on begin, and it would do that. I actually don't want to do that in this case, but this just gives you a way that you can customize each of those. But now you can go through and see your transactions, even if there's multiple transactions per address, being able to see those. So I think this will be a big benefit to everybody.
I do too. That's excellent.
So another huge update besides that, if you have the Gemini integration, and it does require Gemini at this point, at some point when we add Claude's piece, I'll probably also include Claude capability of doing this. It's not something that I have built into the OpenAI connections yet. I may be able to do some of that. There's some logistics challenges with OpenAI, but we now have this start my day icon in the upper right corner if you have the Gemini integration turned on. If you don't, you won't see this. Whenever you go into the start my day integrations, the first time, technically, it will come up and ask you kind of what your role is in the system. So I can go into my gear here, and it will do a pop-up, and it'll has this roles and responsibilities. Whenever you go in and run this the first time on your own, it will ask you, what is your role? Are you the real estate agent, an ISA, transaction coordinator, listing coordinator, etc.? And based off of that choice, you're going to have different responsibilities and important things that pertain to you in what you do. We use the AI to be able to help identify those needs based off of your role and do things. So it will come up and say, okay, based off of those responsibilities, what things are most important to you? And you can kind of do some adjusting of what's important to you in your role, but these are things that are specific to your role. Once you save that and make that available, then it uses, whenever it builds this each day, it uses your information to be able to customize a strategy for the day for you to be able to do the things that you need to do based off of what's on your dashboard. So whenever we look, we also have the ability to say, well, every day at a certain time, I want you to schedule a digest of my day, a daily briefing. And so you can pick the hour, what days you want it sent, etc. And then once that's saved, then it will send you that notification each day. So the important thing there is once you get it customized to the way you do business, then anytime you come in here, it uses that Gemini AI, grabbing all the different parts and pieces of your dashboard to identify what it is that you need to do. There's some things that are highly important that you need to address, some things that are critical. We've got some things that Sam can actually do for you, and those are in there. We're in the process of making this even smarter. We're building out additional AI agents that will actually perform a lot of the tasks for you. And I'm still in the midst of that, but some of the things are capable of being done. If you have like, okay, 90 minutes of focus, what are the 3 top things that you want to or should be doing right now? So you can see what those are. And then there's also other things that need to get done and the recommended order based off of the importance that the AI has used what it knows about you and your role. So each one of these are different things that you can be doing. A lot of them have things where I can go do them from here. I can open my call list. I can go, view my list of new leads overdue, whatever. and I can do them, perform them. Once I've completed all of them and it comes back in here, it will refresh. But that is the bulk of this, is interpreting your dashboard. The more information that we gather into SAM, the more information it knows about you, and it can report on all these things, but it can get overloading. And by using this Start My Day, you're allowing the AI to look at the entire gamut of your dashboard to identify what is most important to you in your role, and then based off of that, put it into an organized list that you can then do and perform your tasks on a daily basis. So that's that.
Excellent. I think that's a nice little cleanup / management piece too.
Absolutely. Whenever you do go in, you can also print this list. You can refresh it. You can also specify, if depending on how your organization is set up and the either the security that's turned on or the way you've got it set up, you can identify whose plan you want to look at. If you're the account owner, you can see everybody's stuff. If you're an agent or a sub user of some sort, then you may only be seeing your stuff, but it gives you the ability to kind of dig in and help those people that are on your team if need be. And then you can also go in there and print this as a quick PDF to see what things I've got on my list to do, as kind of a quick list of prioritized action of items to be able to do.
Cool.
So I hope that'll be helpful. I think it for those users that just kind of get into overwhelm with everything that we've got. Number one is, we've got a lot of dashboard widgets, and if there's any of these widgets you don't use, just go up in the upper left corner, click on the little icon, dashboard icon, and turn off any of these that you don't need, want, use. It's that simple as far as removing the things that aren't important. But for those elements that are important, and you just kind of get into overwhelm of, man, I've got so much to do. Yeah, you've got a lot to do, but we're here to help organize that. Now with the Start My Day, you can let AI go through, evaluate what's important, what's not important, and create a more summarized list of things that you need to do.